Hey guys, so this is a little bit of a different setup. Since being a mom, having a baby, setting up lighting, the professional camera, all of that jazz is great when you have someone to take care of the baby, but obviously I'm with her every day, and whenever I think, oh great, she's down for a nap, I can get some filming done, not the plan. So I'm just gonna do this Q&A throughout the day whenever she is sleeping. So at the moment I'm parked on the beach looking at the water. It's a little bit gloomy out, but she's sleeping in the back. So I'm gonna get started on this Q&A, which you guys left a whole bunch of questions on a picture on my Instagram. So I kind of put together the most popular ones. I have a bunch here, so we're just gonna get started, and I'm gonna do a full day of filming for this Q&A to get it done while she's sleeping. Okay, so I'm gonna start off real talk. The first question is being a mom harder than you imagined? Simple, yes, definitely. I think, not that I was naive, I think I just always felt like I was super maternal and like just knew I would have it all together, or just like that it would be a breeze or easy, just because I love babies. Like I've always loved being around babies and just holding them and taking care of them. So I genuinely thought, oh, when I have my own, it'll be super easy. Not the case. Not that it's easy to love her. It's just, I think the whole change with hormones and, you know, just life in general has definitely been harder than I imagined. Maybe because I work from home and I only work with myself. So maybe, you know, trying to balance that, which is another question, but I'll get to that later. Yeah, so I guess, you know, to put it short, yeah, it's definitely a lot harder than I thought, but it's also so rewarding and harder but better, if that makes sense. I know that's super contradicting, but yeah, it's a learning process, and every day is just very exciting, and yeah, I just learn a lot from being with her every single day. Now, to lighten up the mood, the next question was targeted towards, because I live in the UK, and do I prefer chocolate or jelly babies? If you know me, I'm not a massive chocolate fan, but since moving here, I've definitely become more of a chocolate fan, but 100% I would pick jelly babies. I love them. This one is, what career would you choose if I were to stop doing YouTube? Which is definitely a realistic question, because I don't think I would be doing YouTube for the rest of my life. I don't know. Will it even be around in like 20 years? Because it definitely wasn't around like, what, 20 years ago? Am I wrong? So it's a definite real question. I have some things going on in my brain. Don't know why I said that weird. I think I would like to start a brand, maybe a beauty brand or a product. Maybe start with product and then move it into a brand with beauty. I love doing makeup on other people. I get like such a high from doing it. Like I just love making people feel beautiful and just talking to people, and maybe host like classes or something. I know I'm technically doing that online, but maybe more in person, like do more actual classes or like a makeup studio or something. And then if worse comes to worse, I would love to open a flower shop. As you guys know, I love flowers and working with them. If this is a question from Patty. Every time I ask for questions on my Q&A, Patty always drops a really silly one. This is, if I were to drop soap on the floor, is the soap dirty or is the floor clean? I'll let you guys answer that in the comments down below. What do you think? This next question is, how did we decide on the name Olive? To be honest, I don't really know. I just said it, but I remember saying it to my friend Erica before I was even pregnant. I think it was at her bachelorette party. I don't know. I was like, oh, I kind of like the name Olive. I think it's cute. And she's like, yeah, that's a really cute name. And I never mentioned it again. And then when Patty and I were like busting out some names, we just weren't like connecting. Like I liked more old school, you know, Margot and Georgie and, you know, Quinn, I don't know, more unisex, I guess, kind of names, where Patty liked really feminine names, which I don't love as much. So we just weren't like, you know, finding a middle line with a girl's name. And then when we were in Spain, I remember specifically I was getting something in my beach bag and I was like, oh yeah, Olive. So I was like, do you like the name Olive? And he was like, yeah, I love that name. And I was like, done. We're sticking with it because we could not decide on a girl's name. So if we ever have another girl in the future, it's gonna be a struggle because it took us like 5 months to figure out Olive and it's the only one that's stuck. Kind of with that last question, will we have more children? Yeah, I think we'll definitely have more children. Not at the moment. I'm very happy with one child right now, enjoying her and just watching her grow. She's changed so much in 6.5 weeks. Like, I'm looking at photos and I get so emotional just looking at them because I'm like, where did she grow? Where's the time gone? Yeah, so maybe in a couple of years. Not at the moment. Definitely not at the moment. I don't think I could handle that right now. But yeah, I think we want at least one more, but who knows? Maybe a mistake down the line. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm gonna hold off right now because I can hear her grunting, so I'm gonna go feed her and then I'll pick up with the rest of the questions. Alrighty, so my camera died. I did some grocery shopping, fed Olive. Now she's chilling in the other room. I'm keeping an ear on her, but I'm gonna finish up some questions. So the next one was, how much weight did you gain in pregnancy? To be honest, I didn't really weigh myself. Oh, hold please. All right, baby is settled for now. Yeah, I didn't really weigh myself. They weighed me at the very beginning of my pregnancy and then again, like literally as I was in labor, like during contractions. So I was not like listening to what they said. So I really don't know actually, but I think personally, just by guesstimate, like 45 pounds, like I feel like I gained a lot. It might have not looked like I had a massive belly, but I feel like I just put it on everywhere. And yeah, so apparently an old wives' tale is girls hold everywhere and boys are just belly. Don't know if that's true, but for me it definitely was. Next one is, how did we get Sandy used to Olive? So Sandy is our little dog. She is a Cavapoo, so half King Charles Cavalier and half mini toy poodle. She's a dream dog. Seriously, such a dream dog. We just kind of introduced them right away. Like as soon as we came back, she smelt Olive and she was good. She is very protective of her. Like whenever I like go to the bathroom, she goes like right up to her bed and just like stares at her. Like if you watch my Insta stories and the highlights, like she is so good, just so gentle. She's never like nipped us, like maybe in play fighting with Patty, not with me. But even with like toddlers, like Zoe, my niece, who's almost 1.5, like will try and touch her and stuff, and like she's so good. They get along so well. Like she's such a good dog with kids, so there's been no problem there, thankfully. Would I do anything different about my pregnancy or my birth? I probably would eat healthier and work out a little bit more throughout my pregnancy. I just had really bad lower back pain in my second trimester, which is supposed to be your like, you know, feel good, active kind of trimester, and I just had really bad lower back pain. And then in my third trimester, I actually felt really good. It was just like, I just felt heavy and couldn't really bend and move. And I was just, you know, relishing in the fact that I was pregnant and taking advantage of that. So I'm paying for it now with having to get back into shape. But yeah, I probably would have liked to stay a little bit more active. I did a lot of walking at the end, but that was to try and get things moving. But yeah, I didn't really do a lot of working out or even eating healthy. So probably would do that. With my birth, no. Honestly, with our next kid, I would love for the birth to be the same. Probably in the moment, I wouldn't say that. But overall, like it was as good as it gets, I feel like. So I was really, really fortunate with I guess a natural birth with a really, really quick recovery. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything about that. Unless I can just say no pain whatsoever, but I don't think that's realistic. Did our relationship change since pregnancy and birth? So my husband Patrick and I, throughout pregnancy, Patty was such a servant. Like he has such a great, loving, kind, and serving heart. Like he honestly stepped up his game with like, I don't know how he could because he's like so incredible to start off with, but I had really bad like nausea in my first trimester, and he like cooked all the time, or lack thereof for me, more for him, but he was just so, like, whatever I needed, he'd be right there. Like, he was just so helpful, did so many things, like cleaned the house, especially when I got to the bigger stage when I couldn't even move. He like always cleaned the house, like did so many things that I couldn't really do or probably didn't want to sometimes. Like, he's been amazing. And even since having Olive, well, I guess I'll kind of touch on this in another question, but I thought, you know, I'd have it together right after the birth, and I didn't. And he really just, you know, came in, stepped up, and was such a, you know, team player. Yeah, I'll touch on that in another question because I've wrote it down here, but he has been amazing. I feel like our relationship has really been a real team effort throughout my pregnancy and throughout the baby. It's been yeah, such a team, because I would not be able to do this without him. So I'm very thankful for him, and I feel like we've really bonded close as teammates. As weird and lame as that sounds, it's very true. We obviously love each other deeply, but we have so much respect, and yeah, I just have a lot of admiration for him. So in this next question, it says, how is it raising Olive away from your own family? Did you deal with postpartum depression or baby blues? So as you guys know, I'm Canadian, but I live in Northern Ireland. I feel like a bunch of you still don't know that, especially on my Instagram. Everyone still thinks I'm in Canada for some reason, but I am Canadian. I've been living here for almost 3 years. So yeah, I would be quite an independent person, like I've mentioned before in previous Q&A questions about living away. But it definitely changed when I had a baby. I thought, oh, this is great. Like, you know, we're gonna raise a baby here, we can travel and everything. And it's easier said than done once she arrived. My parents were here like within the first week, and that was really helpful because, like I just mentioned in my previous comment, I thought because being, you know, maternal and, you know, oh, I'm just like love babies and everything, I thought it'd be so, you know, natural and easy for me. Like it would just be in this instant connection. And I actually like talked to Patty being like, you know, some dads don't connect to the babies right away. Like it takes a couple of months, just because we hold the baby for 9+ months. So it's like instant for us. So if you don't feel that connection right away, don't worry. So I was like prepping him, and to be honest, it was totally the opposite way around. I definitely had a serious case of the baby blues. I would say for the first 2-3 weeks. Not that I didn't connect with Olive, like I was so in love with this little being that we created. It was just, I was so hormonal. I was like, my emotions were all over the place. I was crying for no reason. I felt sad for no reason, and I almost felt guilty because I thought this is supposed to be like the happiest moment of my life, and I feel sad. And I almost was like, is this gonna be my life forever almost, you know, like all these like crazy random thoughts that like I would never think like that before definitely hit, and they hit hard those first couple weeks. And like I mentioned in the previous question, Patty just, you know, took the reins, and he was amazing. Like he was like, you know what, I'm taking Olive, you go do whatever you need to do to feel human again, basically. Go take a shower, go have a nap, you know, just anything you need to do. And that meant everything to me because I really had a hard time. And even my parents being here, I'd literally nurse Olive and then just give her to my mom or dad, and she'd hold her for like the 2 or 3 hours that she would be until the next feed, and I would just do the same thing. Like I don't know, it didn't hit until like the 3-week mark where I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want anyone else to hold my baby except for me now. But like in the beginning, it took a while. I don't know, a lot of women suffer with that baby blues. Postpartum, I think, comes later, I believe, but no, I do not have that. I think, you know, really talking about my feelings, which I'm a very vocal person, so I guess that's a positive, but talking about my feelings and letting people, especially my close-knit, you know, family and friends, letting them know how I feel, that's when they can really step up and be there for me in lower times, helps and probably prevents feelings. But you know what, being a first-time new mom is hard. It definitely is, and there's some low moments, but getting out, joining groups, going on walks, meeting other new moms, and you'll realize how much in common you have with your struggles. And I've definitely learned that through going to some mom groups and gaining new friends who have new moms too. Like, you're not alone whatsoever. But yeah, so definitely in the beginning struggled with baby blues, but thankfully it's gone and I feel like I'm on cloud 9. The next question is, am I an optimist? Yeah, I actually think I would say yes to that question, because I always try and see the good in things. I wouldn't really be a negative person. I think we all have negative thoughts and moments, but I try and see the positive in a lot of things and try and let other people or help other people see the positive in things as well. So I would say yes to that. Was I nervous about taking Olive out in public to breastfeed, and how is breastfeeding going? So out of everything, my pregnancy, delivery, labor, birth, all of that, breastfeeding was definitely the hardest. And I think also was a tie-in with my baby blues, like right after, because I really struggled in the beginning. She didn't latch right away, so when she took, it was midwives, placed Olive on my chest, like they let her lie there for a bit, but then they want her to latch right away. And she cried for like 3 hours straight, like she did not latch whatsoever, which was fine, that's great. And then the whole day I was expressing a little bit so that she could get something, but she didn't really latch until maybe like 12 hours later. And then, you know, started the breastfeeding process where it was really just getting the colostrum, so it wasn't like my milk hadn't kicked in yet. So, you know, your nipples go really raw and tender. Thankfully they didn't crack or bleed. I've heard some horror stories from some people, and breastfeeding is no joke in the beginning, but you know, I was just thankful she latched. There was definitely an easier side, like I could hold her on my left side, but then with my right side I couldn't flip her, like it felt weird. I had to rugby hold her. Thankfully now that she's bigger I can hold her you know, normally or whatever. So that was like one thing, but it, you know, the pain of the initial suck was, you know, bearable and I could get through it. When my milk came in, it looked like I got my boobs done. Like my boobs were so big and hard and super high, but like rock hard, like coconuts. So because they were so full, it made like my nipple flat. So Olive trying to like latch, it couldn't happen. So she was getting frustrated. It was killing me. It hurt so much, but I knew she had to like drain it. Didn't really know how to express at the time or to relieve blocked ducts. So I just remember like screaming, crying one time in the feed right when my milk came in. She was screaming, crying. Patty was just like holding my hand while I was like, you know, like literally digging my fingers into it. Like it was rough. Like it was definitely rough. But then I took to Instagram and asked for some advice and learned how to like massage the blocked duct with like a hot cloth so I could get some out and drain it, and then just, you know, feed off of it until it was fully drained. But it was so painful. The first 2 weeks were definitely rough. I used a lot of lanolin cream on my nips but it was rough and I definitely wanted to give up a lot of times. Thankfully I'm a very stubborn person, and you know, I would say up to like 5 weeks I had my ups and downs. More ups than downs after like 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks were hard for sure, but you know what, it was a team effort with Patty and me, and even Olive, like she's a rock star, and thankfully she doesn't feed for more than like 10-15 minutes. So in the beginning I would just like, you know, bite my lip if it was really painful, but it was never for too long. But yes, to answer the in public feeding, I don't know what was going on in my head, but we went out like the 3rd day, like right after I had her. Like she was 3 days old. Like we went for a walk. Like on like day 4 we were at like going out for lunch. Like I don't know what I was thinking. Like I needed to chill a little bit, but I was almost like timing my feeds. I'd be like, okay, she's fed, let's go do something for 2 hours, like quick before I have to feed again, because then I have to get home and, you know, feed at home, because I was like, if she doesn't latch then she's like really upset and then it just looks like a hot mess and I would get really anxious. And then especially if it was my right boob where I like had to hold her like the rugby ball, or what other kind of ball, I think just rugby hold, I guess football. That made me anxious in public too. And you know, I almost felt like, oh, people are gonna look at me because I don't have it together, or they're gonna be like, this girl doesn't know how to, like, doesn't know what she's doing. So definitely was stressed out in the beginning, but then it just kind of like happens. Like it just you get into a groove, and I feel like my milk's starting to regulate. I'm still getting leaky boobs, still got those boob pads in, which are the worst things ever. They always crumple up, but they're just regulating more. She's still only like a 10-15 minute feed, really sporadic hours, but yeah, I just feel really confident and feel like we have a rhythm. I would like practice in front of the mirror, so I would feel like confident on how I was like doing it. I don't know, kind of silly, but yeah, it's taken time. And again, I don't think anyone just like gets it like that, which is so annoying, because all of those like breastfeeding classes I went to, they're like, oh, it's the most natural thing and this and that, so you just have this like, you know, expectation that it just is the perfect thing right away. And I don't think I know one mom that said it was like the most perfect experience right from the beginning, just because nothing's ever sucked your nipples that hard before for that long. So yeah, but with time it definitely worked out. Thankfully she wasn't tongue-tied, so that made it a lot easier. I learned how to express my boobs. I avoided mastitis, which is really good. But yeah, it was a long journey to get to where I am now, but I feel very confident and I love feeding her, and that's the important part. How did we get Olive to sleep well at night? I think my genes just kicked in. She's a dream baby when it comes to sleeping. Ever since she's been born, and she's 7 weeks on Wednesday, so in 2 days, she's never cried during the night. I don't know how, I don't know why, but she's just never cried. She'll cry before, she'll cry throughout the day, but never during the night. In the beginning, she would do feeds like every 2 hours throughout the day, and then at night it would be every 3 hours, which, you know, is totally normal for a newborn. And then after like the first 2 weeks, like not even 2 weeks, like after the first week, she kind of stretched to like 3-4 hours, which is great for sleeping, but not for my boobs, because they weren't regulating. They were producing a lot of milk, so they really got full, so I had to have like a hand pump on the side of the bed just to like loosen them up a bit. Yeah, I don't know, we only like started giving her a bottle around 3 weeks, and we're still just like introducing it, and she's slowly but surely taking full bottles, which is great. But I just pump now to give the bottle. We don't use formula yet. So I don't know, we don't even give her bottle before bed. Like we'll give it around dinner time. So I think she just likes to sleep. Like she sleeps a lot during the day. I've heard that if babies nap throughout the day, they do sleep better at night. Don't know if that's a thing. I drive and go on a lot of walks, and that helps. Although I feel like I've been pretty good with a routine with her. I've heard you can't do a schedule with the baby, but you can have a routine, and I feel like that's worked. And she kind of like has caught on to it. Like if we're anywhere out past 8, like she's just getting fussy, because she's like, I want to be like at home, I need my bath, I want to be fed, and I want to go into bed. Like she kind of knows. So yeah, around 8, like or 8:30, we like to give her a bath, and then sometimes like a last feed between 8:30 and 9:30, and then she kind of goes down, and now she'll do like 9 to 5, and then 5 to 7. She always wakes up at the same time, so no matter what time we put her down at, she'll always wake up around 7, but then go back to bed till like 9, but like she's kind of up for a longer time at 7. She won't go to bed at 7 yet. I don't think my boobs would want that either, but 9:30 latest, she's kind of like dozing off. So I don't know, she likes her sleep, so we're very thankful about that. How am I balancing work and family life? I am currently going through that at the moment. As you guys know, YouTube and social media in general is my full-time job. So I pre-filmed a bunch of videos, so I got like 5 weeks off, not even like 4 weeks, because I didn't really film a lot of them there because I was so tired with my pregnancy. So I probably got 4 weeks off, and then had to kind of come back on. But the good part about my job is that you guys are watching, you know, me go through this portion of my life, so I can just pick up a camera and show you and talk to you about it, which is great. So that's not the stressful part, it's just actually having the time to do it, because yeah, like I said, babies are obviously unpredictable. So whenever you're like, oh yeah, they normally take a nap at this time, of course the day you want to film, they're up all day and you have no time. Patty's really good at taking her at night, and I can get some filming done, or on the weekends, which I hate doing because I prefer to just have strict family time. We've been doing a little bit more vlogging just because it's the stage of our life where there's a lot going on, and you guys seem to enjoy watching that. Also, thankfully, it's lighter at night till like 9, so it's not super dark by the time Patty gets home if I need to film something. But you know what? It's a learning process. We're going to figure it out, because I know the older she gets, minutes, the more, you know, alert and, you know, stimulated she needs to be with me. So I won't have as much free time because she does sleep a lot at the moment. So we'll have to figure something out there. But in the meantime, it's still a balancing act, definitely. But we're figuring it out. I'm still producing videos. So let me know if you're a mom who works at home and some tips and tricks that I should try. But at the moment, I'm kind of just winging it. Like today's video would normally have been like a more professional setup, better lighting, all of that. But real life here, so I'm just kind of putting up my camera wherever I am that I have a couple of minutes to film. Okay, I'm gonna make this the last question because I've been talking for 22 minutes already. How will you keep Canadian culture in Olive's life? What are we doing to encourage it? Ooh, I don't even sing the Canadian anthem to her. My mom brought a lot of like Canadian food over when she came, and so whenever I eat it, she has it in her milk. Is that enough? No. No, nothing at the moment to like encourage the culture. I think she's too young to really gauge anything. Obviously we're gonna go to Canada lots. We're waiting on her passport so then we can head over. So I'm so excited for that because a couple of my good friends just had babies too. Well, not just, they're like 3 or 4 months by the time I get there, which is crazy. So I'm excited to meet them, for my whole family to meet Olive. Like my brothers haven't even met her yet, so that's definitely hard because I wish we were just all closer. But yeah, I think just going back to Canada will encourage the Canadian culture, and if she ever wants to know anything, she can just ask. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed and didn't mind the randomness of it. Let me know in the comments down below some future videos you want me to film. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.